As of the recording of this video, Colombia's tranny-loving president, who's also apparently a former gangbanger, but anyway, he has decided to be one of these defiant little turds that won't accept their good, productive citizens back from the United States. Because as we know, up until this current Trump administration, uh, this libtarded country, the United States, through the Democrat Party, have only enabled these countries to pour out their criminals into this country and throughout the United States, which has negatively affected people's lives even to the point of death. But it doesn't matter to people like AOC because she's more concerned with the price of coffee. Because, yes, this is who these demons are. They prefer coffins for coffees. Because that's the reality of the situation. If you don't have border laws, then you have unknown individuals pour into this country, and you have these corrupt countries which are ran by gangbangers and cartels taking advantage of that open border policy, which then leads to the taking of people's lives. And again, we know AOC, she's a dingbat, and she's a part of the elites of the Democrat Party. The most disturbing thing is when you have individual, regular American citizens that co sign this nonsense, who truly hate not just their country, but they hate the safety and security of themselves so much that they're willing to thumb their nose at this country's sovereignty. And a lot of it is just to oppose conservatives, even though these open border policies have put all people's lives and their loved one lives at risk. And again, some of them have fallen. People have been murdered, and we know that a lot of the sex child trafficking takes place through an open border. And then you have American travelers who want to travel overseas to get sex from prostitutes, even at the risk of being drugged in Colombia, who are also seemingly upset by this as well. Even though, from what I've seen, most of the tariffs that's going back and forth has nothing to do with affecting Americans who want to travel from America into Colombia. Now, people who want to travel to the United States from Colombia, they're going to have to deal with the consequences of these tariffs. But guess what? Even if it does end up affecting Americans going into Colombia, that's a number of men who will, at the very least, delay their inevitable deaths. Because if you've been following the travel space, a number of Americans that have traveled to this country, Colombia, that is, they've been getting either drugged, robbed, and or killed. So it's actually probably a good thing for them. And usually when that sort of thing happens in Colombia, when United States citizens who they view as gringos, when they usually get drugged, robbed, or killed, the Colombia government could give two craps. And so truly, travelers should see this as a victory of Colombia finally seemingly about to suffer some consequences for their actions, even though these tariffs have nothing to do with punishing them for not caring about American travelers over there. But you could take it as a victory. But ultimately, you know, Colombia will fold because they did, sort of change their position on accepting their citizens. But then he decided to, I guess, not look like a puss and double down with the tariffs thing. Even though, again, coffee, cut flowers, these are things no one necessarily needs in this country. And the only people that are pretending like this is an important thing, these are your typical Democrats, libtards, who again would rather trade the safety and security of their own lives and their loved ones' lives for the sake of cut flowers and coffee. And the reality is, most of these idiot Democrat voters are against border laws because conservatives are for border laws. It's as petty as that, even though the reality of an open border negatively affects them too. But again, liberals, as I've stated before, are obliviously suicidal.